everybody? Happy Frozen Wednesday. I'm the Derek Frank, and it is cold in Iowa. We had a actual blizzard, and you know, now I'm just trying to thaw out and talk about my new camera, the Lumix S9. So there it is. This is the Panasonic Lumix S9. It is my new baby. Speaking of babies, my cat is over here. You'll probably see her make an appearance in a little bit. So I'm just going to be talking about this camera, what I think about it, the goods, the bads, all of the fun things. So as I'm getting this set up and more people join in, make sure if you're here, you say hello. There we go. Let me make sure this is working. Should be working. I'm thinking that the audio might be a little bit on the loud side. Let me turn that down here and up here. We'll see how the audio is. Let me check. Got to do the old school method of checking on my phone. Let's see. All right, I can hear it. Sounds good. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we're solid. We're rolling. You love to see it. So, as I mentioned, I got a new camera. I've been wanting this camera for a very, very long time. I say very long time. It's only been out for 9 months. But the second it came out, I pretty much knew that this was going to be the camera I wanted. So this is the Panasonic Lumix S9. This is a full frame camera, and this is really meant for people like me, the vlogger that you might do some professional work, but it's mostly meant for that quick run and gun. It is smaller, it's lightweight. Actually, so this handle, we'll talk about this more. This handle didn't even come on here. This is a third party piece, but that needed a little bit more of a grip than what it had. But this is the crimson red. It's beautiful. And the camera I'm using right here to shoot this is my workhorse. That is my Lumix G85. That's been my #1 camera for like 4 years, maybe 3 years, probably 4 years, because when I started making YouTube videos, I didn't have a camera, and then that was the first one I got, and I love it. I got some really good advice from a former coworker to get that camera, and I love it, and it's still been going strong. And it has some great things, it has some really not so great things, but it has been all over the country with me. So when I was looking for another camera, that's where I really kind of wanted another Lumix because I really loved the one I had. And then again, here's a kitty cat. She's she's just wanting love tonight. So, hello, this is Sasha. She wanted to talk about cameras too. There you go, kitty. So, when the S9 came out, there was a lot of controversy, a lot of pros, a lot of cons, and one of the major cons with it was it had a record limit. It would only let you record like 10 minutes in 4K or 15 minutes in 4K and 10 minutes in 6K. And that for me was kind of a deal breaker because I often shoot product videos or like doing not like this. It would stream just fine without a record limit as far as I know. But I make a lot of product videos where I'm talking right to the camera, and those clips can be fairly long. And then there's also times like if I want to do an interview with a client or a podcast style, I need to not have a record limit. And so that was kind of like holding me back on getting this camera, even though it really hit all the other check marks. And then a couple months ago, they did a firmware update that removed that because they were worried that it was going to overheat. They didn't want these things overheating, and that would be a massive consumer problem. So they did a lot of testing and a lot of software work, and they got it so that it's not really an issue. And I've seen a ton of people do tests. They've had it running almost 2 hours recording, and it hasn't overheated. And those are in like normal conditions, obviously, like not outside in the heat. But that's perfect. And now I got like a cat hair in my eye. Sorry. So once they removed that, that was super, super helpful for me. And it really helped make my decision. One thing that people didn't like that I thought was a plus was it doesn't have the viewfinder on the top. And for photography, it's pretty essential, but I'm not a photographer, and I take photos, but photo is the secondary thing with my cameras. For me, it's video. And I never use the viewfinder anyway. And my G85 has one, and to me, it's just extra size. And it is kind of funny, like now looking at that camera, the G85 is bigger than this one, like a decent amount bigger. So having this, it's wonderful. I really love it. It's a perfect size. The lenses are going to be bigger because it's a full frame sensor. My G85 is what's called a micro four thirds. And that was my only other holdup with getting this, was that I already have a ton of lenses for this camera, and Lumix did just come out with a camera called the GH7, and that one hit a lot of check marks. It's bigger than this one, but it also has a lot more features, a lot of higher end features, and it wasn't that much more money. So like a matter of like a few $100s. And those few $100s definitely equate into the features that it had. But it's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit even bigger than what I have with the G85. And it's a micro four thirds. So that means that the sensor that is collecting all your data is a lot smaller than the sensor on a full frame camera. But I have a lot of lenses for the micro four thirds, and I have no lenses for a full frame camera, and full frame camera lenses are more expensive. So I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I get the camera that is still really great and a little bit more expensive, and then I've got a ton of lenses, or do I go with this and start my collection of full frame lenses and start spending the money on those? And I went with this for a few reasons. Number one, the lens it came with, that I picked it to come with, is the 20 to 60 millimeter lens. So it's got a really good range. It's got a pretty decent f-stop. I believe it's 3.5 to 5.6. Yeah, so it's 3.5 f 3.5 to 5.6, which means it's pretty good for low light. And I mean, it's great because the sensor's already better for low light, which is another plus for a full frame camera versus a micro four thirds. Full frame has a bigger sensor. It can let more light in. And that's a big thing for me, because if I want to shoot concerts, or I want to do more like artsy stuff in my studio, that's where the micro four thirds sensor doesn't do as well. It gets way more pixelated at a lower ISO range, whereas this one, like, that was kind of a weird thing where I had like the ISO like, I don't know, like a really, really high number the other day, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna look terrible, and I'm like, this looks great on the screen. I wonder if it's just not showing up. So then I put the footage on my computer and I was like, whoa. And then I watched some more videos of people like, yeah, the ISO is fantastic. You can really crank it up. So like right now, let me take the lens off. Right now I have it on 6400 ISO. I know you guys can't see, but 6400 on this camera would have been pretty darn pixelated. But on this one, it's nothing. It's like clear as day. The other major difference that I really needed with this camera is the autofocus. The autofocus on this camera is almost unusable. Like right now I have it set to manual because even in the studio with a good key light, the autofocus is just, it's always fluctuating and it doesn't work well. This camera is really, really great for autofocus. I love it. And that's the other thing, like most of the extra lenses I have that are micro four thirds that would have worked with the GH7 are called prime lenses. So like they're manual focus anyway, and you can get a prime lens that, so prime lens just means it's one like set distance, like a 35 millimeter, not something that can zoom. But most of my prime lenses were manual focus, which is great, especially if like when I'm shooting product or if I'm shooting like the camera in a set position, no problem. But getting the focus set by yourself on a manual focus is a lot of work. So you got to like do this and you got to sit back, you got to like get it just right to manually focus. So I really kind of wanted, not kind of, I definitely wanted a good autofocus. So the new Lumix cameras fix that quite a bit. The other reason I wanted to go with a Lumix camera again is because their in-body stabilization is the best on the market, hands down. And I talked about this. I just put out a review video like 2 days ago on this camera. So check that out if you haven't already, please, and give it a thumbs up and a comment. But in that video, I talked about how the old Lumix cameras, good stabilization, like really good stabilization, horrible autofocus, like unusable. But then you have the trade-off of Sony cameras, which I also love, and Sony's have amazing autofocus and horrible stabilization. But I have a gimbal. And a gimbal is like the thing that you put the camera on and it helps, you know, it's all motorized and it keeps it from shaking. And that's great. Especially like with this camera, it was really good in-body stabilization, but enough that like it had enough wobble that the gimbal really fixed it and made it great and really buttery smooth movements. And that's what's good with that in the Sony. Problem is they're big. And even mine is the DJI RS3 Mini. It's this like one of the smaller gimbals out there. It's still big. And like if I'm doing stuff like when I like to travel vlog or go to Disney, it's just not feasible to take a gimbal to Disney. And I've seen people do it, and that's why like even the Disney vloggers don't do it anymore, because as much as you want to have good footage, it's a lot of work. It draws a lot of attention to you. So I think I did that once, and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that for traveling again. And that's why I shot a bunch of videos, my travel videos, on a GoPro, because I just didn't want to deal with holding a big camera and a gimbal to have good footage. Well, now I don't have to. So you can see that in my review video of this camera. The one thing I haven't done with this camera yet is I have not set it up like this, which I know it's going to work. I mean, we can do it live if anybody wants. If we get some people in the comments, I can absolutely use this. But well, you know, it's been a quiet night in the chat, so I'm not gonna hook all that up unless y'all start gabbing about it. Or maybe I will do it. I don't know. Maybe I should. I guess I have this. You know what? Heck. Heck. Let's do it. I wonder if I put this up here. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's go back to this. Let's put that right here, but let me shrink this down. What's up? How you doing? Thanks for jumping in. Let me make sure. Okay, Derek, couple questions. One, how comfortably is the body handle lenses like the kit lens, Lumix S series Prime? Did you experience any overheating? Good questions. I'm planning on getting the Sigma I Series 24 f3.5. Okay, so I am going to hook this up for you, especially with those good questions. But man, thanks for jumping on. Love the questions. So how comfortable is the body handle lenses? So this is the 20, oh, sorry, let me move this. Sorry, we'll set up the camera in a second. I'll turn this off for now. All right, so this is the kit lens. This is the 20 to 60 millimeter kit lens, and like you can tell, it's significantly bigger than the other kit lens, which is the 18 to 40, I think. But I think it's great because you're getting a smaller body camera with a bigger lens. So I'm pretty comfortable holding it like this. Now, I said in my review video, and I think you had commented on that, or I believe so, that your shoulder will start to get sore. Plus, I've got a bad shoulder anyway. But if you had like a little selfie stick thing, this would be perfect. And I wonder if I know I have one in here. I just gotta find it. Um, oh, here it is. Hold on, let me grab it for you real quick. Okay. So let's put this little selfie stick on here, and then I'll get to your other questions too. So like, I mean, this is a big selfie stick. This is not what I would use, but like, this is great. Having something to elevate it where your arm's not up in the air, where you can kind of rest your arm against your body, not bad at all. So the weight is really good, and I have used it on the gimbal, and it's not any more weight than my G85. That is this camera. Okay, so next question. Um, the S series Prime. So I haven't tried any of those yet. I'm hoping that I get that 85 millimeter because they were doing that free promotion. I haven't heard back if I got selected to get it or not, or if they still have them. But that'd be really nice to have that. Um, I will definitely be getting the S series 35 millimeter, and I've been looking at a couple different brands too. Like I really like Mikey lenses, and they're pretty inexpensive, and they've got some that are lower f-stops. And then you said you're looking at the 3.5 from Sigma. Sigma lenses are incredible. So the 24 millimeter 3.5, yeah, 3.5 is definitely good for low light. Yeah, I hope I get it too. Let's hook this bad boy up and see what it can do. Now, I have not hooked this up to anything yet. So let me hopefully. All right. And I think I have that in port 3. Black Magic. Maybe. Port 4. Oh, there we go. Port 4. Look at this. No, this is not the small rig. It is the Sirui. Sirui. Love it. I've got it in a link on my review video. Okay, here we go. So I have not changed any settings. Look at this. And look at the difference. Same lighting, same room. Look how much more light you get with this versus my old Micro Four Thirds. I don't have a lot of extra cable for this, but you kind of see like, and I can correct the colors and whatnot. Like here, let me turn off the auto ISO. There we go. All right, so here's the ISO at 400. Let me just kind of dial this in. There we go. That looks really nice. That is the ISO at 800. And this is with the kit lens. Pretty fantastic. Gosh, it looks so good. It is so good. So there we go. Quite a difference. I'll get this set up more permanent and use it. I'll probably end up putting it up here a lot of times. It is just really nice now that, and I had another backup. I had the G7, not the GH7, and I gave that to somebody. Yeah, it does look good. It looks really good. But I really like having a camera always set up there so I don't have to take it down. It's totally great for an f3.5. And that is, I've got the setting is so it like kind of fluctuates on its own. So like that might have even been running. Let me just do this because I can run it like this. Oh no, I do have the f stop set. Never mind. I'm lying. Oh wait, no, it is. It's kind of moving, right? So it's at 3.5. Yeah. Let me do this. Yeah, 3.5 at 800 ISO. It could even probably be bumped up a little bit for that ISO. Like 1600, really. I'll plug it back in. Pfft. I don't know why I even unplugged it. I should have just left it plugged in. All right, let's turn that back on. Yeah, that is... Poof. So that's at 1250 ISO with an f3.5. I am using a built-in LUT as well. That is... that's the Film-like V2 LUT. There's a natural... There's golden hour. Ooh, that one's pretty. That's a moody warm. Realistic film tone. Style for camping. I love this one. This would be really nice in here. This is where the LUTs make a difference. So here's with no LUTs. This is just straight Vlog. This is Vlog 709. Really like that one for in here. Ooh, this is the sample LUT 1. Very, very artsy. This is sample LUT 2, sample LUT 3. This is teal flat S, smoky color S, clear S. Backlight N is really good. This would be a good one for low light. And look how, like, it just gives it, like, an artistic grain. Like, not grainy, but, like, it's just so sharp. Let me make the... I've got to make this full size. Hold on. There we go. Well, you can see the cat hair on my shirt. Look at that. This is just, gosh, so much better. And look how much bokeh you're getting in the background with a 3.5. There's my film. Like, this is the one I really love to shoot in. Man. And look how quick it is adjusting for focus. Yes! My G85 definitely can't do that. Woof. One of these days I'll do like a focus test between the two. I just actually have to set this thing up because it does get a little bit heavy when I'm holding it like that. Plus, like, the cable I'm using is like a foot. It's a 1 foot cable. It is not long. Autofocus and low light too. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy to go from, and I love Lumix cameras. They're the best. I think they're the best value camera out there. But the autofocus on the G85 and many of their other ones before they had the new focus system was unusable in good lighting, alone low light. And I did so much low light work. That was like what I did the most of, like going to concerts and stuff. And so I was constantly having to set I'd have to do manual focus. And it was a lot of work, especially on a little bitty screen. Now, I have an external screen, which is really great, but then you're adding more bulk. And the whole reason I got this camera was to eliminate bulk. So I didn't bring it down, it's upstairs, but I have a Tom Talk like backpack, and it's a small one. It's not super, super small, but it's much smaller than any other backpack I have. And it's a sling style. So, I mean, you can put like a couple water bottles in it. It's not a big bag, but I can just throw the lens cap on here and throw this in the bag. And it's super light and it fits in there. I don't have to worry about putting it in my giant Pelican cases, which I will when I'm traveling, of course, or going on location. But for every day, I can just throw this in my backpack and it works incredibly well. So this is just doing it all. All right, what'd you say? It is funny. So like I have my phone down here and your comments pop up like 10 seconds faster on my phone. All right, last question. Can you check if the Surui grip interrupts open. Oh, it does not. Yep, I saw a lot of people saying that too. I was pretty nervous about it. Check it out. Nothing to it. So I don't know if I mean it's a tight tolerance. I could see how maybe maybe some people did, but I can you know what it is when they're tightening it down, if you can get it a little bit off center. Now it does have like let me just take it off. That way you can see. Do I have a screwdriver down here? Of course I have a screwdriver down here. Sorry if you're sorry if my butt was hanging out there. Apologize. All right, and also, how do you want me to say your name? Like, is it Manny Candon or Manny? I don't want to say it wrong, and I don't want to be disrespectful either. Of course, it's a flathead screwdriver. Ah ha ha! Look who has a flathead. Boom. I've always got a solution. The kids that I work with at my tech center always say, where there's a Derek, there's a way. And I love that saying. All right. So let me take this thing off for you. It's just a name. I like that mentality. Where are you from? I live in Iowa now. I spent the last 11 years in Nashville. I'm originally from Illinois. I live in Des Moines, Iowa. It's cold. Super cold here. Okay. So when you put this thing on, there's this little tab right there. And that's that like safety, I don't know what they call that, but there's a hole in the bottom of the camera that's rest in. But even still with that, and that's all the bigger it is. And what's cool, there's a couple really cool things. You got a couple extra mount points. You have an extra cold shoe on the bottom, which love from India. Heck yeah. Oh, I want to go to India really bad. That's on my bucket list for sure. So you've got the extra, like some extra mounting points. You've got another, sorry, backwards, the mirror view. You've got the extra cold shoe, which is clutch. And the thing that no one really talks about is that this right here, let's see if I can get a good angle, is an Arca Swiss. So you can put this on tripods and stuff without having to add an extra plate. Super clutch. Super de-duper clutch. Like when I did put it on my gimbal, it worked so well. Okay, so let's put this thing back on. Again, you do have to get that tab in the hole there. But where I think people have had issues with this is, look, you've got a little bit of wiggle room, even with it locked in that tab. And I bet you, just looking at it, I guarantee what it is they're setting it too low. Just push the thing up. See, like, look how much play is in that. So if you have it set there, yeah, the door's not going to open. But if you have it set there, no problem. I kind of feel like this is a common sense thing, but most people don't have common sense, and they just want to complain at manufacturers. And maybe I have a different perspective because I used to work for a manufacturer, a music instrument manufacturing company. So, like, I understand that not everything is perfect, but people like to complain about everything. Yeah, man, the Arca Swiss at the bottom. This, I think it's like $26 for that grip. Totally worth it. And I love the small rig cage, but it's bigger. It's adding more bulk. The whole point of me getting this camera was to have less bulk. I've got a cage for my G85 if I want. I don't even like having it on that one because the G85 has, it has the viewfinder on the top and it has a built-in handle. It's just a bigger camera. And it's not even that big of a camera. That's the reason I went with the S9 and not the GH7. Well, and all the other things I mentioned. Because, like, let me grab my Pelican case. Also, best Pelican case ever. This is a 1510, but my friends with painted tusk made this. Megan Robin painted this for me. Love it. You love to see it. Okay, so I feel like not all my lenses are in here. Maybe they are. Oh, this is dirty. So I've got this really great Mikey 12mm cinema lens. So amazing. And then I've got this Mikey 35mm. So also this one is a f1.4. And then the cinema lens is an f2.2. Great for low light. Gotta love it. Then I have this is a 50mm Olympus. Fantastic. Are you able to pop the battery out without friction with the grip? Yes, and I will do that and show you. So this 50mm is great, and this one's also an f1.8. This is a Japanese, like an older Olympus Japanese lens. Fantastic. Really great stuff. And then I've got a pancake lens in here somewhere. Where is that? Well, I have a pancake lens somewhere. Maybe it's not in my case. Maybe I wasn't... That makes me a little nervous. Oh, here it is. I actually put it away right. I've got it in the clip. So, little fisheye lens, a 9mm fisheye lens. But when I thought about it, I was like, oh, I've got all those cameras, or all those lenses. What am I going to do? Okay, so pop the thing open. Battery, no problem. Still plenty of room to get the SD card out of there. Which that's one thing I need to do is I need to upgrade my SD cards. I have some V30s and some V60s. V60s are fine, but you really should use a V90 card in here. So I'm going to upgrade those soon. Those are expensive. V90 cards are expensive. Especially when I have like probably 30 V30 cards. Now, here's one other accessory I think you're going to love. Great collection. Sorry. Again. Yeah. And those, like I said, yeah, those are all manual focus. So, if you don't like manual focus, yeah, this camera's going to be great. The new camera is really good. Just don't use an old Lumix. What are you shooting on now? I mean, I would have preferred to not have to use manual focus, but I learned to love it for some things, especially like I do a lot of product shots, and like getting that in and out of focus, like stylistic, is really cool, and getting that really cool like bokeh effect and the blurry background, bokeh, whatever you want to call it. Oh, 6300. Those are great cameras. So I also have a ZVE10. And I love the ZVE10, but the stability is unusable. I have to have it on a gimbal. So the point of that one is like, you know, it's a vlogger camera. It's supposed to be that it's very light. It feels very cheap though, compared to the Lumix. The Lumix feel heavy, like they're metal. They're nice. But yeah, the ZVE10 is really cool if you can set it down. And you know, there's some things like the low light is better on the ZVE10 than my other Lumix, but this is a full frame camera. I would love to test out the ZVE1, which is their full frame camera, but it's more expensive than the S9. And again, the stability is horrible. And I know that. It's one of those trade-offs. I feel like this one didn't have many trade-offs. Now, here's the other thing. So this battery, this is from Small Rig. I love Small Rig, even though I didn't get their cage. Nothing against the cage. It just added more bulk. The whole point of me getting this camera was to be smaller. This battery has a USB port in it, and they make these for like all size batteries now. You can charge this thing with just a USB cable. That is so clutch. Oh, another thing that I love, the battery life in this is fantastic. I've charged it once, and I'm still at a full battery charge. Yeah, well, obviously it's not focusing, but this battery, it's completely full. I have not charged it a second time. And I shot that whole video, the review video that I put out that you saw. I shot that whole video. I shot a couple other little things, and I took a bunch of pictures just testing it out, and I've had it turned on and off and still at full battery. You don't think you'd like the ZVE1? Even with the dynamic active stable, it would artifact hard on slower shutter speeds. Yeah, and that's what everybody says. Like, even with the more you do it, it's cropping it way more too. The Lumix stuff, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I did the video walking around with the camera, and I'm shaking it all over, and it was great. So are you mostly doing video work, or are you doing like, are you doing photo or what? Because I would love to follow your channel. You're free to spam it in the comments. I'll go follow you right now. You're absolutely welcome to spam it. Let me look you up. I know I think I looked at your channel when you commented on the last video, which thank you, by the way. That helps a ton. Oops. Just a hobbyist trying to document your family. Hey, that's totally cool. Mine started by accident. Like, I had no intentions of being a vlogger. I don't even still consider myself a vlogger. I just started doing it for fun because I had a really cool recording studio. What's up, Ozman? Oh, you don't post anything public though. You have one trip documented and you made it private on YouTube. Well, make it unlisted and not private, and send me a link. I would love to follow your channel. I'd love to see your work. Yeah, so like I started my channel because I had a friend do a tour of my old recording studio in Nashville. Andrew Masters Music did it, and it blew up. Like, the video did really well because what you can't see is, like, I've got a really cool setup where I've got a 50-inch touchscreen in front of me, and then I have other big screens, and yeah, it's really neat. But so I started a YouTube channel. I didn't even have a camera. I had a webcam, and it was horrible. And I just kept getting better, and then I really loved it. And then I was like, I got pretty decent at doing video because the pandemic hit, and I had to learn how to do video because I was an artist relations manager, and I had a ton of artists that needed content put out. And we had a videographer at our company, but we had 20 brands, and he was way too busy. So I learned how to do stuff really quickly, and that's where I'm at now. All right, I'm gonna subscribe. You only have one subscriber and no videos, but I'm still subscribing anyway. Okay. Oz is having dinner. What are you guys having for dinner, Oz, man? It's late for dinner. Oh, you probably had to work, didn't you? Gotcha. Also, it might not seem like a lot to people, but my video review of this camera just crossed 200 views in the first day, or technically it's 2 days. And it's my #1 performing video so far. And if it keeps trending this way, it should be in the thousands. My videos have slow burn. Like, they take a while to ramp up, which is fine. I'm not doing it for the vanity. I'm doing it to, 1, because I enjoy doing it. 2, I get free stuff a lot, or I get paid to make some videos. And 3, I like to help people. So I love your questions. Like, I think they're really great questions, and that's what I love to do. Ozman, you got money, buddy. You should get one of these cameras so you guys can do your YouTube channel. This thing is so good. It is the best. It's my favorite camera I've ever gotten to use now, and I own one. Yay, me. There we go. Battery compartment opens just fine. Yeah, I think people just have it set wrong. That's exactly what I think the issue is. All right, let's. You know what? I haven't even tested this battery out. I'm assuming a lot from that small rig battery. Yeah, it's amazing. It works fully charged in the small rig battery too. But I'm really happy with the batteries. And the fact that you can get like 2 batteries from like Newer or something for like $35 with the charging cradle. I'll probably get a couple more. But I don't foresee myself really needing it. Plus, I've got so many power bricks that if I'm out and about doing stuff, I can just plug it in and have an external power source. Oh, look, my hair is so messy. I've had a hat on all day because it's cold outside, and I didn't have to go to work today because it's cold out, because we had an actual blizzard. So I didn't have to go to work today. Pretty happy with that. I did shower, but I just put a hat on. And I've been in my studio all day working, which has been really nice. Nice change of pace because it's a busy week. Very, very busy week. Oh, goodness. Oh, so I kind of talked about it in my review video. One thing that people aren't really talking about with this camera is how good the audio is. And I'm not talking like the built-in audio. I never use the built-in microphones because they're not designed to be good. Otherwise, they wouldn't put, if they were designed to be good, they wouldn't put a microphone jack on there. Like, let's be real. They're just way too small to be good. And if you're a camera company, why even, I shouldn't say why try, but why put a ton of money and effort into making the onboard cameras good when everybody's just going to use external microphones anyway? So that being said, these handle 16-bit audio, which is what I use in my studio. That's what you need. And that is like the industry standard for good audio. So the audio is fantastic. And the 10-bit color is also great. If you make a channel that's going to be showing comic books, do it. You should do it. Absolutely should. I have a couple guys at my tech center that started making their own comic books. They're drawing them, and they're really good. They are really, really good. But you and your dad could go splitsies on a nice camera so he can do his grilling videos and you can do your comic book stuff. And now that I have 2 cameras, I can do some really, really cool stuff. Well, I used to have 2 cameras. Like I said, I gave one to a student of mine who needed a camera really bad. So I gave him my extra camera. Because I'm a nice guy like that. My cat is down here, like, she wants attention. Kitty, 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 kitty. Hi, kitty. I'm really thirsty, too. I should have got some water before I came down here. Any other questions on the camera? Amazing questions. I love these questions. And I think the screen is fantastic on here. The menus are easy to use. Yeah. I don't really have many complaints on this camera. You know what? I'll give you a thing I don't like. I don't like that it's a mini HDMI port. Just right up here. Number 1. Don't like that. Number 2, it doesn't have USB streaming. Because that's what heroes do. For sure. Heroes do help people. That's what I like to do. So the fact that they couldn't have squeezed in an HDMI, a full HDMI port, is kind of annoying, because then you have to use this little bitty cable for HDMI, and they're not super stable. It doesn't give a lot of meat to it. Plus, you have to have special cables, and they're never a length that you want. They're always like super short. So yeah. I have not had this overheat yet, and not even close. I haven't even gotten a warning, but I haven't pushed it super hard, but I did have it on and recording for like 35 minutes. and I was using it. So I probably had it on and off and on recording for like another 30 minutes and then had it on for 35 straight. No issues. I think the only time you're going to get overheating is if you're out in a really hot environment and you have it on for a long time. I think the average person only shoots like 3 to 5 minute clips anyway at the most, and you're fine there. Even if you do like several 3 to 5 minute clips and it's hot out, I think you're going to be okay. Even if you're doing like 15-minute clips, I still think you're okay. Because when they had the record limit on there, people weren't having issues with overheating. They would just do 15 minutes and then start it again, do another 15 minutes, and start it again, do another 15 minutes. It was just them being safe. I definitely understand what they were doing. I wish they would have just waited a little bit longer to put it out and have the record limit figured out from the start. But they had to put out a camera, and the S1R, or the new one that just came out, the S1R Mark II, is that what it is? That new camera is like $3,200. It wasn't ready yet. That's their new flagship. It wasn't ready. And I think that's what was supposed to come out 9 months ago when they released this one. And that's what everybody else is speculating too. But since it wasn't ready, they rushed this one to market because it was closer and it didn't have all the things. Plus, I think they wanted to hear the public's reaction to stuff. Like, do people need that recording limit off? Yes! That was the whole reason I didn't buy it at the beginning. Was the record limit. And so then so they did the update, the firmware update like 3 months ago, I think, to remove the record limit. At that point, I was convinced I was going to get a GH7. I think the GH7 has a built-in fan. Let's see. Let me look. Lumix GH7. See, here's the deal too. All said and done, once I got that, I already have lenses, but if I wanted some newer, nicer lenses for that, I would have been almost $2,300 to $2,500 after the body. But the body, let's do this. And let me get Chrome. Here we go. Okay, so this is just on Best Buy's website. Thank you, Best Buy. Love them. So this is the GH7. It's a beefy computer camera. Look how small that sensor is. It's tiny. It is a tiny sensor. It is not a big sensor, but that's what this camera is. And it works great. I love the Micro Four Thirds platform. And I already had all of the lenses, but I probably would have needed a couple more professional autofocus lenses. So this camera is set up almost identical to my G85. It does have a couple features that are different, like the intelligent microphone or whatever. I don't really know much about that, but it does have a hot shoe. The S9 does not have a hot shoe. It's just a cold shoe. So if you want anything powered, you can't do that. You can have, if you have a microphone that has external power through the jack, it will do that. But as far as like a microphone that sits on the top and there's no cables and everything runs through there, can't do it. Which, if you find a microphone like that for your camera that you like, they're usually expensive. Like the Sennheiser or the Shure, or there's several other companies. And honestly, I don't like having a microphone on top. I use like little wireless microphones. These are the Rode Wireless Go 2s. Now, I just did a video on the Mayono T5 Waves, which the whole set with the adapters to plug into a phone are $110. Amazing microphones, and they're tiny. They're like a little puck. So they're really great. So I don't need a hot shoe. What other features? Here we go. This is a nice thing. So you've got two SD card slots, and one of them is that the CF Express. So you can put different SD cards in there and a little bit bigger, faster. This one does have a remote port, whereas the S9 doesn't. I don't need a remote port. I'm not doing photography where I need that. Um, it would be nice on the gimbal, but I can push a button. It's not a big deal. And then the other side, this is where it does get really nice. This is where I was really loving the GH7 because you have a full port, full HDMI port. You have a headphone jack, which this one does not have a headphone jack. That's what a lot of people were not loving. I think the headphone jack is essential if you're doing professional client work. If you're just doing your own stuff, you don't need it. Now, that being said, I have ways of running headphones out of this with my microphones because a lot of them have a secondary external out or a headphone out, or I run my my field camera or my field screen on there and it has a headphone out. But having that full-size HDMI port would have been clutch. This is the other cool thing, is you could hook up hard drive. So you could record straight to an SSD hard drive. Yeah, and this is the fan. So you won't have to worry about overheating on that model. But I would have been spending almost another $1,000. Yeah, it's a lot of money. Especially for a camera that's not a full frame camera. Beautiful camera. Now, if Lumix and Panasonic are watching, I would love to review this camera with all of my lenses that I already have and put it against the S9. They're very different. They don't really compare, but look how chunky. It's a chunky kid. It's like the fat kid at the party. It's chunky. It's funny. People like it, but it is chunky. So I'm just gonna call you Manny. Manny, um, when you get one of these S9s, what color do you want to get? Mine's the crimson red. Are you gonna go classic black, or blue, or green? I think you can even get white now. The G9 II is also wonderful. You know what? You're right. Let's look at that. Well, and the other thing, the S5 and the S5X are incredible cameras. Yeah, there's the G9. And I thought about the G9 for a minute um, because of the price point for one. Now, is the G9, this is ASPH. So is that a different lens system then? Oh, no, it's 4/3. No, is that a regular 4/3, micro 4/3, same thing? So I could have used my lenses on there, right? You want to go black with a silver top. Very classy. I found a company that does um, aftermarket skins for them, and I thought about they make like a red camo, and I thought about that with the crimson red, and then all of the top in red camo and the bottom in red camo, and maybe even get the lens in red camo. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, so the G9 II is really cool. The other one is the S5 and the S5X. So let's look at the S5X. That's just the S5. Oh my gosh, look at the price just plummeted. I hope I didn't make a mistake. No, so if you do need some of those other features that this doesn't have, okay, here's a great package. Here's the 20 to 60 millimeter, same lens that I got here with the 85. And the 85 is a 1.8. That's why I really, 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 really hope that I get it for free with that coupon. It'd be nice to have an 85 millimeter 1.8. Oh, that'd be so good. But here you go, $1,900, and this is the same. It's the same sensor. Oh, S5 2X. That's right. You're right. But even just the S5, Great camera, absolutely fantastic. Tons of features. It has a lot of those side features, or like those features that I talked about. This one still has the mini HDMI port, but it does have a microphone jack. You've got the USB, and then you've got the dual ports right here as well. These are just dual SD, like standard SD cards, but that would be nice. You can have the remote. Um, but really, and it does have the viewfinder if that's your thing. So if you need a viewfinder and you're more photography, I'd say if you're more photography, probably go with this. Let's look at, okay, so you said the Lumix S5 2X. There it is. S5 2X. This one's significantly more as well. $2,200. And I think the Lumix S9 sensor. Okay, so the sensor is the same as the S5 II. Which is what I thought. So you've got an upgraded sensor. Again, it is incredibly hard to beat this camera. I just don't know. I don't know what other camera for the price compares to this and the size. Like for me, it was about the size. Right now, here's what I got. This is the exact price I got it for. It was $14.97 with the 16 or with the 20 to 60 millimeter lens. If you want that smaller lens that they make, it's the 18 to 40, you can get it for $1,700. Here's the reason I didn't want that. One, it was more money. Two, it's an f4.5 to 6.3 versus a 3.5 to 5.6 f-stop, so it lets in less light. It's not as good in those conditions. Dan, how's it going? You love yours. Man, I love to hear it. Welcome to the channel. These are my like first camera reviews too. Even though I've been using cameras for a while, I just felt compelled to review this one because I just got it and I love it. I was not paid. If Lumix would love to contact me, I would love to work with them because it's my third Lumix camera now. I think they're fantastic. They're really fantastic. There's some things that I would change, but it's the best camera for me right now on the whole market. So, Dan, what lens do you use? I've got the 20 to 60. I liked the features better, and the size difference wasn't enough. Like that is a smaller lens. So if you're throwing it in a bag and having, I bet you it's probably like an inch or two shorter. I bet probably about an inch and a half maybe. But the thing with the 18 to 40 lens is when you use it, you have to turn it on basically. You've got an an 18 millimeter f1.8. Do you love it? Because I've been looking at that lens. Oh man. Okay, I gotta look at it. How much is it? Like $500, $600 right now? Oh my god, I was way off. Woof! $900. Good lord! Yikes! Yikers! I could get it though. I can afford it, right? But I was looking at some of the other lenses. Like you can get the Sigma, the 16 f1.4. It's on AliExpress. I don't know that I do that. Here, let's go to Amazon. 85 f1.8. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to get the 85 for free. They had a promotion going on, and you have the 28 to 200. Oh, you've got a lot. Okay. This is my first full frame camera, so I'm new to the full frame game. Oh, good question. Does the 18 millimeter sit comfortably with the S9? Good question. Yeah, how does that fit? Because if I'm gonna drop 900, KEH or MPB. I don't know what that means because I'm new to the game. Please explain. I'm sorry. Glad we got somebody that knows some stuff in here, though. This is great. Thank you for joining. Okay, so let me go on the evil giant of Amazon, just because I know they're here, and I want L mount. Oh, L mount. Can't type. L mount lens. And I also know that I like Mikey lenses because I've used them. Now, I really want one of these anamorphic lenses really bad. Used. Oh, okay. Let's do Mikey. Okay, here we go. 35 millimeter, 85 millimeter, 85, 85, 50. I wonder if they aren't making. I thought they made a smaller one. Maybe they aren't yet. That 35 would be pretty stellar. It's hard to vlog on a 35 though, because you can't get your arm out far enough. This is a manual focus, but that's more of the cinema lens, which is what I was showing off, the cinema lens that I have for my Micro Four Thirds. Let's do L mount lens, 18 millimeter. So you have this one. Yeah, that's an f5.6. I wouldn't go with that. I mean, it's $90. I've tried a few 7 Artisans. I wasn't sold on them. So $900. I could get it used, so it'd be cheaper. And plus 5.6, like that's just too high for me. I need some better low light. That's an interesting lens. 10 to 18 mil from Sigma. I do like how small that is on there though. Should I buy this lens and test it out? Do you guys want me to do that? I mean, it's a manual focus, right? Or is it wide angle? It's got to be manual focus. There's no way it's autofocus. And that's Nikon Z mount. Get out of here. Oh, it does say Z mount on that one. Does this one say L mount? There we go. There's no way that is an autofocus. It can't be. I'm not seeing anything about the focus. Do you guys want me to buy this and test it out, though? I think it'd be kind of cool. Motion on my smart camera. What? Is there someone in my front yard? Oh, there's just a car going by. It was like, is there someone in my yard? Mikey makes good primes for the L mount for incredibly cheap. Yeah, for sure. And I love their lenses. I've got two of them right now. I think they're great. Should I try this guy though? Like, it's got good reviews. I'd be happy to buy that and give it a shot, skis. 18 mil. Hmm. Hmm. So if you want to buy the 18 to 40 millimeter, 18 millimeter, 24 millimeter, 35, 50, and 85 primes are all exactly the same size. Good to know. My 28-200 is very close to the same size. That's really good to know. And I thought that all of their prime lenses were about the same size. How do they feel in your hand though? Do you like them? Or do they get a little bit heavy? And Dan, are you mostly doing photo or video? Because I'm a video guy. Although I started taking some photos with this thing and it's stellar. Absolutely beautiful. Um, what is that? Ooh, manual focus. The 7 Artisans though. But I did just send them an email about they were looking for reviewers for their new lens for sorry, I forget what lens it was, but they were looking for reviewers for the L mount. You're both. Nice. And it's light. Great. L mount 85. Maybe I should get that. Should I just drop the $900 and get it? Oh, look, you got Canon. So expensive. Now you can get an adapter for these Canon lenses um, and still use the autofocus, but it's like 200 bucks. All right, so this is the one, it's on sale right now, but this is the one that they're offering for a special that you get it for free from a certified dealer, which I did. So this is interesting. So Panasonic is 400, and I guarantee the Panasonic one's probably I can pretty much guarantee it's gonna be better than the Mikey. But here's one of the Mikeys that's an f1.4. Man, I would probably spend the extra money and get the Mikey f1.4, but then you can get the Mikey 85 f1.8 for $200, 210 bucks. And from what I've used their stuff with, like that is just going to be a great lens. And I bet it's light. I have their cinema lens. Let me grab that real quick. So this is the 12 millimeter cinema lens from Mikey. And this is for micro four thirds, so my G85, and it would have worked if I had gotten the GH7, but I didn't. But I love this lens. I think it's fantastic. Really good stuff. Well, it is getting late, and thank you all. Dan, do you have, if you're still on here, do you have videos up on your channel? I'd love to watch them if you do. And also, you guys can follow me on all my socials. I'm pretty active on Instagram, and that is, everything is the Derek Frank. Same name everywhere. Not to be confused with the other Derek Frank. One thing I love about this lens is it, look how smooth that is. I mean, it is a cinema lens. It better be smooth. It's got to be easy to dial in. But like really, really smooth. You got a channel? Okay. Let me look up your channel. Feel free to spam your channel in here too. Throw a link up so people can hit it, because I think, is that the case where if you're in a live you can't pop up somebody's channel? I feel like that was a thing. Maybe not. Lots with your S9? Killer. Killer. There you are. Heck yeah. Look at that. Look at that photography work. Look at you go. Dan, where are you located? Look at you using the oh, you have the same color and everything. Look at you using the Rode Wireless Go's. Is that what you got for microphones? I got some of those. Just be careful. They fail. I've had them fail before. Man, look at you go. You got some stuff on your channel. I love it. Yeah, everybody, if you're watching, go subscribe to Dan's channel. He's easy to find. I just subscribed. Looks like you got a Fuji as well. Solid. Richland, Washington. Very cool. Well, man, thank you so much for hanging out and the advice, and yeah. I'm just looking at stuff on your channel. I love it. You got some great stuff. I love that you're using like different aspect ratios and stuff too. That's really cool. Really cool. All right, I'm really excited to watch some stuff on your channel. I'm gonna check out your Lumix S9 great price video for sure. But that being said, it's getting close to my bedtime. It's almost 10 o'clock here in Iowa. So I'm going to head out. Good to meet you as well. And thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for the great questions. And stay tuned. I'm going to be doing all my videos with this, or most of my videos with this camera, because I love it and it's fantastic. And yeah, I'm just really, really happy with this purchase. Um, and if there's some videos you want to see, let me know. I love making these kind of videos. I love making review videos. I do have some new reviews that are going to be coming up. Like, I've got to get a review done for this. I've only had the mic for like 3 years and haven't done a review on it. Sorry, SE. I love you guys. Sorry. I need to do a review on this microphone because I've been using it for so long and I love it. It's my favorite for a lot of things. It's very versatile, but it's the Shure SM7B killer for sure. I don't even use my SM7B. I don't know the last time I did use it. I only use this. So I've got that review. I do have my 2 other channels. I've got my Let's Be Frank Travel and my new Jeep channel that I'm launching. Just so I can keep some of the travel off of here and the Jeep videos off of here because it gets a little convoluted. This channel is mostly going to be like techie stuff. So music recording studios, cameras, microphones. Every now and then I'll have some other like headphones. I've had several headphone questions or companies reach out to me about doing reviews. Appreciate answering all the questions. Man, thank you. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. So until next time, y'all be safe out there. Have a good one. And if you do have more questions, by all means, let me know. Hit me up in the socials. I'm very accessible. But everybody have a good night. I appreciate it.